Good evening. We'll now call the business session of October 15th, 2019 to order at 6:03 p.m. Welcome to our guests. We provide an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on any resolution, ordinance, public hearing, or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted one 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you are here to speak and haven't filled out a registration card, please see the City Secretary staff at the registration table outside the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will distribute those to the council. If you are unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you are speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you will be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. Now please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business is to consider and approve the minutes of the October 1st, 2019 meeting. Are there any changes to those minutes? Those will stand approved as written. We have we actually have three proclamations and special presentations tonight. The first is 2019-72, which is a presentation to the 2019 Live Well Waco Healthy Worksite Recognition winners. I would like to ask Councilmember Kennard to make that presentation. Right, right.
Thank you, Mayor. Howdy, everybody. Let's see, I think if anyone from Live Well Waco or the Public Health District or Prosper Waco is here to help. Yes, hi, come on up. Just to help me as I kind of go through this. The whole point behind the 2019 Live Well Waco Healthy Waco Worksite recognition that we're doing right now is just because we want to recognize and demonstrate that healthy workplaces provide great benefits for both the business and general population's health. Greater productivity, higher individual and organizational performance, lower absenteeism, decreased healthcare costs, along with higher employee morale are just a few of the benefits businesses gain by promoting health within our communities and within their workforce. Along with benefits within the company, committing to be a healthy organization is taking a vital step towards changing everyday lives and behaviors toward reversing negative health trends that our city, county, and nation are experiencing. The workplace is an excellent way to reach out to citizens and initiate that first step towards better population health. So in that vein, the City of Waco, in partnership with Live Well Waco, the Waco-McLennan County Public Health District, and Prosper Waco have encouraged McLennan County employers to apply for recognition through the Healthy Worksite Program. The Healthy Worksite Program recognizes McLennan County employers that demonstrate a commitment to employee health by incorporating comprehensive worksite health promotion and wellness programs. It acknowledges efforts to facilitate and encourage employee health, enhance productivity, and ensure a healthy work environment. We are here today and acknowledge 14 local businesses who have made that commitment to not only their employees, but for setting a precedent for our community to create and support a healthy environment where all can live, work, and play. And so the mayor, myself, and the rest of the city council commends your efforts and hopes that you will continue in your commitment to support healthy work sites. And so with that, I'd like to recognize all of our recipients. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure of the process. Are we going to get folks up here to take a picture? Is that what you?
Yes.
All right, would you like to say anything before I do that?
No, you're good.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, I like it. Okay, so and so there's a platinum and then gold level, and there was a number of points that were assigned based on programs, outcomes, all of those sort of things to kind of get these different levels. And so our platinum level recipients were McLennan Community College. Let's see, come on up. Yeah. Extra Co-Banks, Anyone here representing Extraco? We'll cheer for them. Yeah, yeah. Who's, ISD? Independent School District. Texas Community Health Center, or the Family Health Center. Caterpillar? Heart of Texas Regional MHMR. White Hillcrest Medical Center. And our gold level recipients, NeighborWorks Waco. There we go. There's the way. Looking good, sir. Congratulations. Say thank you to all of our participating employers and for setting the standard and for doing all this good work here in this first year. It's really, our community will benefit by your long-term commitment to these healthy programs, policies, outcomes, and just wellness and making a healthier us. So I just want, again, I want to say thank you. We're happy to recognize all of y'all, and we'll smile pretty for the camera. And a healthy smile. So let's get in. We'll get into it. There we go. You want to say sure? Okay.
Take it, Rick. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you for your work towards a healthy workplace. And Councilmember Kennard, thank you for presenting that, and thank you for your work as the chair of the Waco-McLennan County Health District Board. I've asked Councilmember Sabito, sorry, Councilmember Hector, to present the next present the next proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite Dr. Sean Fike up to the front with me, please. I want to make this proclamation on behalf of our mayor, Kyle Deaver. It says, I, Kyle Deaver, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim October 2019 as Chiropractic Health Month in the city of Waco, and urge the people of Waco to join me with the city council, the city staff, and me in recognizing Texas chiropractors for their commitment and efforts to improve the quality of life for all Texans by promoting effective pain management and healthy lifestyles. Chronic pain remains a public health problem and negatively impacts a person's quality of life as well as the lives of their families, friends, and caregivers. Chiropractic care treats disorders of the musculoskeletal system and the nervous system, as well as promotes a hands-on, non-drug approach to pain management and healthy lifestyles. Their expertise in the prevention, care, and rehabilitation of back, neck, joint, and head pain is critical for treating patients with various pains and disorders and can save the public from the physical and financial tolls of other treatment options. We are thankful for all of our healthcare professionals in our community, and we encourage everyone to learn more about the vital role that chiropractors play in the healthcare field. And I would like to present you this proclamation from the city of Waco. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Sabito. I'll now ask Kathy Reed to meet me at the podium. All right, I'll present this proclamation. I, Kyle Deaver, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim October 15th, 2019 as a day of remembrance for domestic violence victims in the city of Waco, and urge the people of Waco to join with the city council, the city staff, and me in recognizing the victims who died due to domestic violence during the previous year. Domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, and security, due to the systematic use of control and abuse. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Family Abuse Center remembers the victims in Waco and the surrounding areas by reading their names and stories in a special service on the suspension bridge. This day provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about domestic violence issues and show support for the organizations and individuals who are providing excuse me, advocacy services to domestic violence victims. Together, we can strive towards raising awareness to eliminate domestic violence in our community. And this is signed by the council and me, and I'd like to ask you to say a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
I appreciate the support we get from the city and from not just the council, but city employees and all the way through the whole system for Family Abuse Center. This last year, 2018, we lost 4 people in our service area who died because of domestic violence. The statistic I repeat all the time is it's 1 in 3 women in Texas will be beaten sometime during her lifetime by her husband, ex-husband, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And that means all of us, if we take the blinders off, know someone who sits in the same pew with us at church or who works with us. It could be a daughter, a sister, an aunt, but all of us are touched by domestic violence. And so today, in particular, is our day of remembrance to honor those victims and to hope and pray that as we go forward, we will have less violence in our homes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got out of here too fast.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we have 11 public hearings tonight. The first is public hearing 2019-794. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a public hearing in accordance with requirements of the Texas Tax Code, Section 312.201, to consider an ordinance creating reinvestment zone number 70, City of Waco, for industrial tax abatement on approximately 16.89 acres of land located on Block 6, Lot 12, Texas Central Addition to the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas. Setting the boundaries for the reinvestment zone, establishing the number of years for the reinvestment zone, finding that creation of the zone will contribute to the retention or expansion of primary employment or attract major investment in the zone that would be benefit to the property and that would contribute to economic development, providing an effective date, providing a savings clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, and authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary in connection therewith. This ordinance comes to you on first reading. Timber US Inc., hereinafter referred to as TUI, is a Canadian manufacturer of a variety of heavy haul trailers looking to establish its first presence in the United States. The property TUI is interested in purchasing is currently owned by the Waco Industrial Foundation. TUI plans to purchase a property to invest at least $8,245,000 in real property improvements and to invest or cause to be invested at least $3,025,000 in personal property improvements. TUI proposes developing the site in 3 phases. Phase 1 includes offices, sales, and an approximately 54,000 square foot warehouse. Phase 2 includes a manufacturing and coatings portion of the facility, and Phase 3 includes additional manufacturing capability along with support operations. TUI anticipates creating at least 49 full-time jobs, with the collective number of jobs all having an average wage of $19.55 plus benefits. If the reinvestment zone is created, a resolution approving a tax abatement agreement with TUI will be brought back to the City Council. It is anticipated that only phases 1 and 2 will be addressed in that agreement. As required by law, notice of this public hearing was published to the Waco Tribune-Herald on October 4th, 2019.
Thank you, Millette. Any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? We'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-795.
Mayor, before we start this public hearing 795 through 800 are all special permits that are recommended by the Plan Commission with the same findings. So I'd like to read those findings into record first and then go through the cases individually. The findings are that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purposes and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area which is located, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of special exception, and that available community facilities and services, including the road system, providing access to the proposed use are adequate for the proposed use. For public hearing 795, this is to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Joshua Lee and Lynn Lee for a short-term rental type 2 in R1B zoning district on property described as Lot 18, Block 4, the Briarstown Village Edition, known as 808 North 65th Street. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit, subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for granting a special permit per Section 28-122 of the zoning ordinance that I just read in the record.
Okay. Are there any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek? Yes. Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Bearfield? Yes. Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-796.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Waco Home LLC for a short-term rental type 2 in R1B zoning district on property described as Lot 20, Block A, the Country Club Estates Edition, known as 1019 Montclair Street. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for granting of a special permit per Section 28-122 of the zoning ordinance. Pursuant to city ordinance and state law, if a protest is filed with the commission or council against an application, it shall not be approved except by a 3/4 vote of all members of the city council. Protest must be signed by the owners of 20% or more, either of the area of the lots included in the application or the lots or land immediately adjoining the area in which the subject of the application and extending 200 feet from such area. The petition was received meeting these requirements, and therefore a 3/4 vote is needed for approval.
Any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. I have 3 cards here. Is the applicant or applicant's representative here? Yes. Okay, if you would come down first, please. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Wade Mackey. I live at 3900 Ford Avenue. My parents are the owners of 1019 Montclair.
Okay. Did you have anything, or just wondering about questions?
Do I have any questions?
Yeah, no, do you have anything that you'd like to say here, or are you just here to ask questions?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So my name's Wade Mackey. My parents are Rich and Cheryl Mackey. They're the owners of 1019 Montclair. Waco Homes LLC is the LLC they created in order for liability reasons. However, this is the only home that they currently own under that, or that they will. They plan on moving to Waco soon. As you see, I have a small daughter here. So my mom had 2 friends. They bought the house together so that all of them would be able to come down, because she's the kind of first grandchild for all of them. They were kind of second mom relations. They met doing missions, and while my parents still live in Van, Texas, to cover the cost of the house, they're planning to Airbnb it out on weekends and days that they're not in town. My parents love the neighborhood. That's the reason that they chose the house, and had already had discussions before applying for this of how to make sure that the house respected the neighborhood, didn't disturb anybody, with strict housing guidelines, making sure who would be able to stay there, who would not. They would need approval before being able to book, that kind of thing. And just, yeah, I guess that's all, thanks.
Okay, I also have a card here from Abby Mackey. Is that?
That's my wife. She had to step out for just a moment, so I'm
You're
standing
filling in. Okay,
her
well,
place, yes.
Your daughter's
We
doing a great
were going to
job.
be sitting back there.
All right, any questions for Mr. Mackey? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You will have a chance, or Abby, one of you will have a chance at the end for a short rebuttal.
Okay, thank you.
I have a card here from, first I should ask, is there anyone else here who would like to speak in favor of this application? All right, I have a card here from Mike Ruby.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Mike Ruby. I live at 1013 Montclair. I'm here to speak against the proposed short-term rental at 1019 Montclair. That's PH 2019-796. I understand that the zoning commission didn't receive any opposition letters, cards, or emails, but I sent in my card, my next door neighbor sent in a card, and the person on the other side of this particular property, excuse me, sent in a card and an email. So I don't know where those items happen to end up. I believe each one of you received the written petition that was signed by 13 of the 14 homes on Montclair, 6 of the 8 homes on Sandera, some of them weren't included in the circle of being 200 feet from the property line, but 6 of the 8 homes on Sandera signed to oppose. And on Edmonds, 2 of the 5 that were circled on the map, 2 people said they didn't receive cards, but we did get 2 people to sign. One person or one house didn't answer their door when I went to the door to get the petition signed, and the other house just declined to sign it because they had done Airbus type rentals in the past, and they thought it might be a little bit of a conflict. One person that was signed on Edmonds did not receive a card, but he signed against it also. The house in question on 1019 Montclair has been reported to the Waco Sanitation Department 4 or 5 times for the trash cans not being taken back to the off of the curb. Not that this makes a big deal, but they don't water the yard. I've mowed the yard several times just to keep it kind of nice, but I haven't done that in the last couple of months. They had somebody come and do it, I believe, last week. Also, okay. I only have 2 more things to say.
Okay, if you could wrap it up pretty
Yeah.
quickly. Thank you.
One of the things that we're kind of concerned about in the neighborhood with this short-term lease or renting is drugs, loud parties. Some of these places have reported porn shoots, and wondering about the Texas sex offenders being in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next card I have is Becky Murphy.
Becky Murphy. I live at 7200 Sandera Drive with my husband, Randy Murphy. We are one of the ones that did not receive a letter or a card about the application for the short-term rental of 1019 Montclair. Our concern is the people that bought the home told the neighbors on several sides that they were going to use it for a retirement home. We had no one knew that they were going to use it for an Airbnb. We all we bought our homes to raise our families and to live there and not have to worry to sit here and oppose short-term rentals and coming into our neighborhoods. That seems to be a lot that's going on in Waco right now. The people that bought the house, they live 2.5 hours away. They're supposed to have a manager, I think, to take care of the house while they're not here. And my husband, I know, has taken the trash cans back to their proper place several times. And I know Trey Faust, who lives next door at 1025 Montclair, has taken it several times. So, we just are just concerned about the proper care that they're going to take of the house when they're not there. And just the fact that they misled everyone when they told us that their intentions of their home. So we just ask you to please, consider not approving this short-term rental. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak in opposition to this application? Mr. Mackey or Mrs. Mackey, either of you has a chance to make a brief rebuttal if you'd like to.
I'm speaking on behalf of Cheryl and Rich Mackey, who are my in-laws, and would greatly apologize to the neighbors for the trash cans not being put back. My mother-in-law is coming every week to watch my daughter while I'm finishing up school, and so I know she puts it out, and I'm sure she leaves by. Thank you. She leaves Thursday afternoons to get back because she's working part-time. They are planning to retire in Waco, but due to health complications of my father-in-law, my mother-in-law is still working part-time in Van as a counselor, and so whenever she can retire, they will be moving to Waco to be closer to our daughter.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Ms. Mackey? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion on this item?
I'll move that we disapprove the permit application.
Second.
We have a motion to disapprove and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'll just say, because I like to defend my position on these controversies, and you all have heard this before, but it's a private property right issue versus city zoning standards to me, particularly in single-family zoning. Single-family zoning allows month-to-month rental. It does not allow day-to-day or night-to-night rental. It's to me, it's hotel-like atmosphere. It works in some neighborhoods. Some people love to see the people come in and fix the house up, and that's great. In some places it doesn't because neighborhoods like the neighborhoods the way they are, without regard to prejudice for color, gender, age, religion, that sort of thing. There is a standard out there that when there's a conflict of people not wanting it, that Clint referred to, with the Texas zoning law of a 20% of 200 feet, people who live within 200 feet, if more than 20% of those people oppose the permit, special permit, it requires a special supermajority of all of us up here. And I carry that, I think that carries a lot of weight. For me, it carries a lot of weight. And it's nothing against Mr. and Mrs. Mackey. You're fantastic people. I don't know you that well, but you have great presentations. Please move into my neighborhood. I'd love to have you there. And I'm sure that's how the neighbors feel over on that street as well. Great. There's a part that flips where you have night to night and people get uncomfortable with that in a single family neighborhood, and I get it. So anyway, that's I'm opposing the permit for this particular one because of it's broken the 20% 200-foot rule.
I have to agree with Councilman Holmes. I think when you have this many neighbors that are opposing an STR that are so close to the applicant or that live so close to the applicant, it's hard. We're in a hard position to go either way on a decision, and so but ultimately we understand that the neighbors and we have to respect what the neighbors want in that specific area. And so same reason, just because the majority, especially with the list that was given to us of those that are opposing the short-term rental, I have to vote against it as well.
I know the Mackeys, and I think they're very great people. I have a precedent of voting when there's this many opponents for a non-owner occupant against it, and I think they're really great. And we've seen this level of opposition for short-term rentals before, and people have gone and talked to their neighbors about their intentions or the amount of times they plan to do the short-term rental, et cetera, and that owner, the neighbors have changed their mind and said, okay, if that's the context of it, then we'll do it. So I would encourage y'all to maybe explore that opportunity. But I think that when there's this much opposition and the expectation of what these neighbors were getting into when they moved into this neighborhood, although I will say I respect our permit process, and for those of you who do have short-term rentals near you, I don't think that they're the type of people that are leasing these are not doing porn shoots. I don't believe. I don't think they're doing drugs. I really think that the price point of short-term rentals are for people coming to look at the silos or go to a Baylor game by and large. And but I also think that when a neighborhood has an expectation of zoning and there's this much opposition and it's a non-owner occupant, I fall in the same camp as Councilmember Holmes.
Well, I agree with you, and I just want to point out that the one prior to this one is also in my district, not terribly far away from this one. That one had, nobody showed up, goes without even any discussion. This one, there's opposition, which I think is fair and reasonable, and that's why we do this process.
Yeah.
But and we want to respect that. And so, I mean, I think we have an unofficial de facto policy of letting neighborhoods decide whether they want them or not, because some neighborhoods are very happy to have short-term rentals and some are not. I think at some point we need to figure out a way to codify that.
Yep.
Just to make it easier on staff and on everybody on this.
Agreed.
So, but I also, as a part of that, will, I'm going to respect the petition and be representative of the neighborhood in this. So.
Any further discussion? Please poll the council.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard. Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion is approved and the permit is denied. I would also say that there are zoning districts in Waco where you don't have to get a permit. And so I hope your parents can come and take care of their granddaughter. I know they would like to do that. And there are other ways to get that done. So, public hearing 2019-797.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Gina R. Denard for a short-term rental type 2 in R1B zoning district on property described as Lot 14, Block 2, the Grace Carroll Edition, known as 1917 Irving Lee Street. And the Zero Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit, subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for granting a special permit per section 28-122 of the zoning ordinance.
Any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-798.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Marjorie P. Williamson for short-term rental type 3 in R2 zoning district, O2 zoning district on property described as Unit 7 of the Luann condominium, Building C, Lot 29, Block D, the J.P. Anderson Edition, known as 1334 South 12th Street. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of special permit, subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for a granting of a special permit per section 122 of the zoning ordinance.
Any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Meek.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. No. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-799.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Miranda Chambers for short-term rental type 3 in O2 zoning district on property described as Unit 1 of the Luann condominium, Building A, Lot 29, Block D, J.P. Anderson addition known as 3222 South 12th Street in Unit 9 of the Luann Condo Building C, Lot 29, Block D of the J.P. Anderson addition known as 1338 South 12th Street. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit, subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for granting of a special permit per section 28-122 of the zoning ordinance.
Okay, any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Meek.
Yes.
Kennard. Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. No. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-800.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Bar 5C Investments LLC for a retail nursery in C2 zoning district on property described as 8.23 acres, more or less, in McLennan County, Texas, out of the James Lane survey, being the residue of the called 22.115 acres of land described in a deed recorded in volume 48, page 464 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, known as 9605 China Spring Road. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the special permit, subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for granting of a special permit per section 28-122 of the zoning ordinance.
Any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek. Kennard. Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-801.
Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from suburban residential to mixed-use flex on property described as .59 acres, more or less, out of the Wortham Birch Tract described in a deed recorded in volume 960, page 574 of the deed records in McLennan County, Texas, being out of the James Lane survey in McLennan County, Texas. Save and accept the portion of the 5.9 acre tract conveyed to the state of Texas per deed record under Clerk's File 2013-00-4264 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, known as 9519 China Spring Road. Providing that the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described above shall be changed from R1B to C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and then finding and determining that this meeting is, at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the land use designation change based on the following findings. One, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed mixed-use flex land use. And two, there is mixed-use flex land use in the vicinity and across from the subject property. Plan Commission also recommended the zoning change based on the following findings. One, the proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. Two, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in C2 zoning district. Three, the property meets all size and width requirements for C2. And four, there is a commercial zoning adjacent to and across from the subject property.
Any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Meek.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Bearfield. Yes. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-802.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending the concept plan for a planned unit development currently on 8 acres of land in the James M. Conrad survey, abstract number 224, described in a deed to Richard A. Rutherford of record in volume 1227, page 561 of the deed records in McLennan County, Texas, in 28.616 acres of land out of the James M. Conrad survey, abstract number 224, being all of that called 28.69 acre tract of land described in a deed to Lehigh Portland Cement Company, as recorded in volume 1360, page 7 of the deed records in McLennan County, Texas, and located east and north of 9821 Chapel Road, to reconfigure access and layout of the residential development, approving the amendment to the concept plan, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. We have received requests from the applicant to withdraw this application. City Council does need to hold a public hearing on that request to withdraw.
Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing to discuss the issue of whether we should allow the withdrawal of this item. So this is not a public hearing on the merits of the case, except as they apply to the question of whether we should allow withdrawal. I have one card that indicates that it is on that issue from Donald Citrano. Mr. Citrano, if you'd like to address the council.
Hi, I'm Donald Citrano. I live at 516 Meadow Mountain Drive with my wife, Valerie. We support the withdrawal of Nate's plan and would support his development of a single-family housing addition behind our home as long as he doesn't come through that house, tear down that house, and come through Western Ridge Addition. When we were at the City Commission was here a few weeks ago, there was 37 people here against this plan. That's about 20 or so homes in that area, and everybody agreed that we did not want him coming through that house, tear down that house and put a road there. And everybody likes Nate. We think the plan that he has is great. It's 323 homes in 8 acres, I believe it is. No, I don't remember how many acres. 26 acres, is that right? But we just don't agree him coming through Western Ridge Addition. There's a lot of people, families, every day walking through there, kids riding bikes, mothers with their little carts with the babies in them, kids with skateboards, bicycles, everybody. It's a really family addition, and we don't need cars coming through there. They did a study, and there was the study for the traffic, and there was going to be 1,500 cars coming through that one road because there's 323 houses. And I guess they're going to school or going to work, coming back home, going to HEB, everything they do, go work out, whatever they do. It's 1,500 cars is what they plan on coming through there. And as one person that lives on that street says that the streets are so narrow, people park their cars on the street, and as it is, you have to almost go around cars just to go through that street, so it's very narrow. So, like I said again, we support Nate, what he's doing, we just don't support him coming through that street.
Thank you.
I do have one question, though. Is there any way that Cornerstone will be allowed to tear down the house on Meadow Mountain to put a road through? I don't know if y'all have an answer for that.
My understanding is that was the purpose of the amendment to the PUD, and without the amendment to the PUD, which he's asking to withdraw, he could not do that. Is that your understanding, Jennifer?
I think
That's what Clint said.
I believe that's what Mr. Peters said.
Yep, okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is there anyone else here who would like to speak on the issue of withdrawing? And please, I'll let that get way out of bounds on what, I want to hear specifically about whether we should or should not allow him to withdraw this item.
Yeah, and all
if you would, start with your name and address.
Nate Landreth, 1408 Covington Drive. I'll start with the follow-up to that. My plan is a PUD. I'm following back to the previous approved PUD with a few changes, but we won't be having that access. Just, I thought with all of the things that I tried to address in this new plan, staff's concerns and a few concerns y'all mentioned last time about the long road and the density. I kind of addressed all that in this plan. Yes, spread the traffic out, but clearly looking through the emails on the public agenda published, there was a lot more pushback than I had expected, and so I'm requesting withdrawal of that, and we'll go back. I got rid of the duplex and townhomes and just went all single family, but we'll just go back to the previous plan. And my intent is the PUD. I think their concern about the house tearing down and adding access was, I've said, previously, if I would have just left it R1B, we wouldn't have had a public hearing in that situation.
I see.
But my intent is to go forward with a PUD,
Right,
I think
but,
it's the
and we asked
best-
that question during the work session, just to clarify, you can't just go back to R1B and do that
Correct.
without,
We
without
would
the
have to
approval
come
of this body.
back and
Right.
get a rezone to R1B.
Right.
I've just always kind of said, hey, I'm trying to do
I understand.
better. We could have not even been here. But
Appreciate that.
overall, the PUD will allow that balance between Meadow Mountain and the apartments. And I just ask that when I come back with something very similar to what was approved, that y'all know I kind of tried and, we'll go with what we got. So,
All right.
thank you.
Any questions for the applicant?
Right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, sir, if you're here to speak on the issue of the withdrawal.
I support the withdrawal. My name's Ken Venture. I live at 419 Meadow Mountain Drive. And I would have been the house right across the street from the gated entrance. And, if it wasn't for my neighbors and the fact that we care so much about our neighborhood, I never would have even known this was an issue until after it was done. I wasn't on one of those things that should have gotten notified. And my concern about this is this has a habit of coming back every so often and coming before the council. And again, if you're not one of those people who get notified, you would never know, even though it's my neighborhood. I retired from the Air Force in 1998 and looked for a place to raise my family, and Waco was it. We came in, and Western Ridge was the place we decided to do that. I've lived there 21 years. And again, it's very important for us to maintain the neighborhood and the atmosphere that we have. My house burned down in 2004. I'm on the corner of Lost Trails and Middle Mountain. We looked, maybe we'd move someplace else because it'd start over. But we couldn't. We love the neighborhood. We love the people. We rebuilt our house, and we've lived there, like I said, since 1998. And so again, to preserve the neighborhood really is important to us and to our whole neighborhood. And again, I just caution, should this come back, and again, I know you said you're going to go back to the original plan. We were here for that original one where the 8 acres development. We just don't want to see it all changed again when it comes back. And make sure that you talk to us about those kinds of things so we don't have to come here and have these kinds of issues is my saying for that. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else here who would like to speak on the issue of withdrawal? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion on allowing the applicant to withdraw his application?
Move approval on the withdrawal.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just had one quick question. Clint, maybe you can answer this. On a withdrawal, does it automatically revert to the other, will it automatically revert to the other PUD, or does he have to go through Mr. Landers have to go through another process? Or, because I appreciate Mr. Landers being sensitive to the needs of the neighborhood, the needs of council, the plan commission and staff and all that. I appreciate you continuing to work and make this a nice project, but procedurally, what happens now?
Yes, sir. So he does have an approved concept PUD plan that has access out to Chapel Road. So he will need to submit his final PUD plan that are more final details of the development, and that will have to go through.
So we just revert to the other one?
Right. Yeah.
Which I think most of the neighborhood was okay with.
Right. Without the access point to Western Ridge.
Correct. Thanks.
Any further questions or discussion? All right, please poll the council.
Is this for the same?
Motion to withdraw.
Motion to withdraw.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek? Yes. Kennard?
Yes.
Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries and that application is withdrawn. Public hearing 2019-803.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described as Lot 2D, Block E, the McCall addition known as 526 North 5th Street shall be changed from C3 district classification and be designated an O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the zone change based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the Imagine Waco plan for Greater Downtown. 2, the property meets all the size and width requirements for O3 zoning. 3, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in O3. for the 03 zoning brings the existing residential use into conformance with the zoning ordinance, and 5, the area has been transitioning to mixed-use zoning districts such as the 03 zoning.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
Mayor and Council, Councilmember Meek has filed an affidavit of substantial interest on this item as he owns property within 200 feet of 526 North 5th Street.
Thank you. All right, any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-804.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance abandoning a portion of Jackson Avenue between South 8th Street and South 6th Street, being a .30 acre tract of land situated in the J. Chambers survey, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, located within Jackson Avenue, a 70-foot right-of-way to the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and bounded on the westerly side by a 30-foot railroad right-of-way as described in Ordinance Article 367, dated February 28, 1881, in the 1899 Code of Ordinances book for the city of Waco, Texas, and bounded on the easterly side by Lot 3, Block 1 of the final plat of the Southwestern Edition as recorded in MC number 2017 035 461 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, retaining a general utility easement, retaining an easement for any existing Admis energy facilities located in the abandoned area, retaining an easement for a railroad signal box, requiring that the railroad signal box and any other railroad equipment remain outside of boundary fencing as a condition of the abandonment, providing that the abandonment is subject to any rights in the abandoned area held by Union Pacific Railroad, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding determined the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the abandonment based on the following findings. Public use of the right-of-way is not required for proper flow of traffic or for emergency vehicle access to the area, and utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way. And this recommendation does have the conditions that were read in the record with the ordinance.
Okay, are there any questions for staff? Okay, thank you, Clint. I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes? Meek?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
Sabido?
Yes.
Bearfield? Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. We will now turn to our resolutions. We have received a registration card for agenda item 2019-812. Northcutt, Dr. Northcutt.
Thank you, Dr. Alan Northcutt, 619 Stone Manor Drive, McGregor, which is in Waco, Precinct 5. There is a handout. This resolution has to do with a contract between rental car agencies, Hertz, Avis, and Enterprise with the Waco Airport. And these contracts go through 2024. My concern is that we look to the future, to what we need to do in decarbonization, and require, if we can do that, if the city can do that contractually, or at least strongly recommend that they include hybrid cars and electric cars in those that are available for rental. In the handout, you'll see that all of these companies do have either hybrids or both hybrids and electrics in their overall fleets on their websites. So I think this would be possible to do. This contract is through 2024, and as you know, the science says that by 2030 we need to cut emissions in half. So, you know, we need to be moving forward quickly, and so I'm hopeful that the city will, since these things come before the public, that they will actually consider this and not just, you know, okay, the contract says they are, and this is something that I would think the council can do pretty simply to encourage those rental car dealers to have these hybrids and electrics available. Climate change is something like a malignancy. You know, it's something, the worst part is down the road. Early on, such as now, we don't see the severe impacts. But if we don't act now, like a malignancy or a cancer, you know, it's going to grow to a point where it can't be treated, where the impacts will be severe, and the costs will be more down the line. So that's basically what I want to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion on agenda item Resolution 2019-812?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question to Deidre then. Can we ask these three if they will provide, if they do provide hybrid cars or?
We're going to look into it.
Great.
All right.
Great if we could find a way to make that available.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. The consent agenda tonight consists of resolutions 2019-805 through 2019-815, with the exceptions of resolutions 2019-806, which was pulled from the agenda tonight, and resolution 2019-812, which we just voted on. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield? Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. We have two ordinances tonight. The first is on emergency reading 2019-816.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending sections 1866 and 1867 in Chapter 18 Personnel, Article 3, Division 1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, providing the city manager is authorized to adopt and execute a collective bargaining agreement with Local 478 of the International Association of Firefighters, governing wages, benefits, working conditions, and operation until such contract expires on September 30th, 2023. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for inclusion in the code, finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance comes to you on an emergency reading, which requires two readings, two votes, and the favorable vote of 3/4 of all council members qualified and serving.
Is there a motion on first reading?
No move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion passes on first reading, second reading.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending sections 1866 and 1867 in Chapter 18 Personnel, Article 3, Division 1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, providing that the city manager is authorized to adopt and execute a collective bargaining agreement with Local 478 of the International Association of Firefighters, governing wages, benefits, working conditions, and operation until such contract expires on September 30th, 2023. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for inclusion in the code, finding and terminating the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion on second reading?
Motion for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the second.
That's me.
Any discussion? This was said earlier during the work session, but because we have a different audience tonight, I think we want to thank the both sides of this collective bargaining teams from both the union and from the city. These are always difficult discussions. Everybody is trying to reach an agreement that works for both sides, and I think we've done that. I think the fact that we've been able to negotiate a contract that both sides are pleased with for 4 years is really significant. And just thank everybody for what they've done here, and specifically thanks to our firefighters for the great work that they do. Please poll the council.
Holmes? Meek?
Yes.
Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-817.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending Section 18-83 in Chapter 18 Personnel of said code, providing the number of police officers, police sergeants, police commanders, and assistant police chiefs authorized by the City Council, providing a savings clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Is there a motion?
Approval on first reading.
Second. Come on.
This one.
Oh, give me the Holmes and the Andrea. I don't need this one.
Any discussion?
No. Police, they're great. It's, happy to do this.
Well, I will say that I know that council expressed a lot of appreciation for this at work session also, and you know, we have been very careful about trying to limit growth in all of our departments, but with the growth of the city, it's important for our police department to grow accordingly. And this is a great step for public safety, and we appreciate everything that our police officers do for us every day. Please poll the council.
Yes, sir. Holmes?
Aye.
Meek? Yes. Kennard?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes. We will now open the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for any citizen to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council is unable to conduct discussion, but will listen, ask staff to look into concerns, and provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to the council. If you are unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. I have 2 cards tonight, and both of you know the rules well, so I'm just going to ask Dr. Northcutt to come to the podium.
Thank you. Dr. Al Northcutt, you have my address, I believe, already from last time. This is covered in the last 2 pages of your handouts. Now, the city has started to take very small steps toward decarbonization, looking at the possibility of solar on some municipal buildings. But as you know, the municipal greenhouse gas footprint is only a very small portion of the total city's greenhouse gas emissions. So I bring this to the council because the Sustainability Board is totally ineffective and really only considers recycling. Over the last 7 months has done nothing else. So I wanted to bring this directly. And the point is, what can the city do to encourage decarbonization in the city at large? And so I'm looking here at a couple of things the city of Austin has done. The first is to encourage rooftop solar among citizens. They offer a $2,500 rebate. You have to take a little educational course on solar, and if you have a qualifying system, the rebate is $2,500. I think that's something that could be done to encourage rooftop solar, which is a very potent way to decrease emissions. The other incentive that Austin's doing on the last page of your handout is to offer a rebate on home charging to increase the use of electric vehicles. So they offer to pay like half of the charge to purchase and install a level 2 home charging. So that's a 220 volt relatively fast charging system. Most cars don't come with that, so you have to purchase it. It might cost maybe $1,000 total, depending on the system. But they offer to pay half, up to $900 for a non-Wi-Fi system and $1,200 for a system that uses Wi-Fi. So I suggest that the city look at the possibility of these 2 rebates for photovoltaics and for home charging. I think both of those could be very effective, and you know, some money could be set aside for this. I think it would be a big step forward on decarbonization for the city. As I said before, our time is very limited to avoid catastrophic changes of the climate crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Next card I have is Ephraim Herring.
My name is Ephraim Herring. I live at 1046 Chestnut. I came to you on August 1st, 2017. I thought it was going to be a very simple process. I went to the inspection department. I went to y'all because I had a contract with y'all on tax abatement. Came to y'all because it says in the tax abatements, meaning the city council and the city manager is the one that enforces it. The problem I have is This was a simple thing. It was an approved city plan for my house that was not followed, that y'all approved. I went to the inspection department to get NeighborWorks Waco and Neighborhood Housing to do the house in accordance with the approved plan. As of today, it's still not done. So I wrote on July 12th, I wrote a letter to your manager and said, hey, you know what? Since y'all not gonna do it the right way, I am. So I started the process. Y'all was given on June of 2018, y'all was given a presentation about, they said they fixed the problem. They lied to you. I'm just be straight up blunt. What they did was come and did the alleyway. If you go and look at the alleyway, you can drive by there and see that alleyway is not in accordance with y'all organized plan for Public Works standards. That alleyway is not. That curved approach goes out into the street, and now it's preventing me and my next door neighbor from doing any work because by y'all own standards, it states that that alleyway, that the line, the curve, to be exact, the drive approach is in violation of the curves and gutter flow issue because the gutter, it doesn't flow properly. And there's nothing there to make it flow properly. If I gotta come in and do my driveway, which I'm doing right now, trying to do, I can't do it because that approach is in violation of y'all own regulations. Second thing, I've already paid my taxes this year, and so your tax abatement is just no good for me. Because of April of 2019, I had to apply. And I'm not gonna file a tax to the county, because that's the county, it's not the city. County got a bigger jail than y'all do. And I'm not filing anything with the county stating that, hey, it's in accordance with the agreement we made. It's not. I'm the one that certifies that it's not. All I'm asking for you to do right now is you're gonna fix the alleyway. Because already you're gonna cost me more money than the house is even worth, 2 times the money. And you can't replace the time that my family's been robbed of. My grandkids, my great-grandkids, and they was robbed of their grandmother. Time. You can't replace that. There's no money in the world that can do that. I can replace money, but I can't replace time. And every day I think about when I go to that house, I hear my mom on the 4th floor in Hillcrest Hospital screaming because she wants to go home, and she can't go home because we can't get no car up that alleyway. Y'all have a blessed day, and all I want you to do is fix that alleyway so I can move on. There's enough pain's been managed on my family. Y'all need to stop and do the right thing. God bless you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who would like to address the council? Seeing no one, we'll close the hearing of visitors. Are there any council member reports on committees or boards or commission liaison visits? Adjourn at 7:11. Thank you.